On YouTube. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Is there anyone I've not welcomed to this meeting? I'm going to search through the names and try to see if I can find the person that came in while all of that stuff was happening. Is that Morenike? I think it must have been Morenike. Hi, Morenike. Or maybe Morenike will talk for me. One of the two. How are you doing? Welcome to the session. Don't worry, you've not missed much, but really we've gotten intimate with one another before you came. Uh, we've laughed. SDJ gave us some, gist here and there, not like we're so deep. Yeah. And then of course we're about to start now, and I'm going to share my screen. So I said earlier that this is not going to be one of those sessions where you just, you know, come say thank you, SDJ, at the end of the day and all of that and go. No, you're going to have to ask a question. So in fact, you can begin to think about the question you want to ask right now. You're not waiting until the session is done before you ask your question. So is that okay? All right, intimacy. Welcome to the webinar for July 2024. And what I'd try to do throughout this year from January is to have at least one free webinar every month so that, I can share part of what I know, what is working for me, what is happening in my life, depending on what the case is. So topics come, and probably I should just, throw this open. If there are subject matters you want me to talk about, you can share, for example, in the chat, and then I can look at fixing it into any of the webinars, or at least touching it and talking about it at any point in time. One of the things that I thought about as well is, to do IG live from time to time, but I must confess that sometimes my schedule is just, I don't even know what to call it. So I'm not able to meet up with such sometimes, but I committed to this. And that's why I was saying that yes, it's been a very interesting week. Someone even noted that I look tired, but yeah, whatever. I will have to get intimate with my people tonight. And I want to thank you for coming. The focus of this webinar is to talk about how we can, first synergize with ourselves and then, synergize with others. And yes, it's exactly what it is. It's not a word, that has been put out there to make you just come. It is actually what it is, intimacy. And so, yes, I've been throwing the word out, a lot. I've been saying, let's get intimate, blah, 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 blah. Yes, but again, it's going to be a lot of, conversations about getting intimate. As much as possible, I want to round up in about maybe 15, not 15, maybe 30 minutes of talk. And then we can have a chat. Then certainly I prefer to always keep my chat, my question and answer time off YouTube. So you don't have to worry about that. We would stop streaming on YouTube before, we go on to that question and answer time. All right, so let's get intimate. Um, this is me introducing myself. I really am not sure if I've done this in any of my webinars this month. I usually would do this in other times, other areas, other speaking engagements, or perhaps I might have introduced myself, but it is just me assuming that everybody who comes for my webinar already knows me, but maybe not all about me. So, hi, my name is Sheyi Jola Yemni. Um, People call me SDJ. Those who love me call me SDJ. People get to ask me what is the D for? Well, that's the mystery D. If you know, don't tell. All right. And yes, I'm a personal development and clarity coach. And the biggest part of my work is to contribute to capacity development, is to contribute to mind reorientation. So what I do as a personal development coach actually stretches, to anywhere your mind can get to. I'm an idea development expert, so I do quite a lot of brand consulting in that area. So that explains my coaching in the professional field. So there's the personal development coaching part of me, and then there's the business coaching part of me. So I deal a lot with brands, and I'm certified to develop innovative ideas for companies. I love to teach. So at my core, I'm a teacher. I love to impart knowledge. If I know something, I want to quickly share it with anybody who cares to know. So you will hardly find me hoarding knowledge. If I know it, be rest assured, I'm going to try to share it as fast as possible. I'm a social entrepreneur as well. I'm working on shaping the mindset and the culture of future Africans via multiple fronts, via providing solutions ahead of the problems that the future Africa can face. And one of the major problems we're facing now, and that we seem to have the tendency to continue to face, for example, is identity crisis. So I'm doing quite a number of things in that area. I've authored some books. I'm looking forward to authoring more. I'm an associate pastor with the Redeemed Christian Church of God. I'm married to a wonderful man. Oh gosh, you need to meet my husband. And yes, I am a mother of great nations. So nice to meet you. Now we go into today's conversation, which is on intimacy. And for definition, that's what intimacy is that feeling that you have of being close to someone, close to something, that feeling of being emotionally connected. And that emotional connection is not just a connection for the fun of it, but it's usually connection for the purpose of support, right? So when you say that you are intimate with someone or you're intimate with something, you are able to share your thoughts, you're able to share your feelings, and you're able to share your experience with that person or that thing. Now you see why I seem to be throwing the word intimacy around tonight. But when I said you get into the chat and share or say something, write something to me, that is you being intimate, having that ability, having that, desire to share your thoughts, to share your feelings. And I might even have a question, or someone else has a question in the chat, and you have an answer, or you have a thought about it. You going ahead to share your thoughts about it is also part of what intimacy is about. And remember, I said it's not just connection for the purpose of connection. It is also it's connection emotionally for the purpose of support. So as much as possible, intimacy is not just about being connected, it's about being connected and feeling supported by the person. So it doesn't also mean that there has to be physical contact. So right there where you are, if you're throwing a lot of chats, in the box, and I'm feeling you from here, that is you getting intimate with me, even though we're not, physically together. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to a large extent, uh, uh, okay, so guys, can you hear me? I just saw a message now. I hope you can hear me. Come on, please say something in the chat. So to a large extent, you have to get that support. Fantastic. Thank you, Julie. So that support has to come for it to really be an intimate moment. So that is Jolu getting intimate with me, supporting me, letting me know on time that, oh, yes, DJ, we can hear you. That sharing our thoughts, sharing our experience because she can hear me, So more often than not, you find out that in meetings, in online meetings, we feel that disconnect from ourselves when we have a physical meeting, because there are eye contact, there's a lot of nodding and question answering, all of that is happening. We get more intimate when we are in the room together. So if I decide to turn off my camera, for example, you would find out that because you cannot see me, see my feelings, see my expression, you feel a bit disconnected from me. And so there's not that feeling of closeness is not there. Maybe my words can still connect to you emotionally, but you might feel, not as supported as you would have loved to feel if I was, showing myself to you with my video camera. So you find out that you attend some meetings and they're saying, oh, turn on your camera or mute your mic, say something. That is, an attempt to bring intimacy into a virtual room. So intimacy, by virtue of definition, is a feeling of closeness, emotional connection, and of course, support. So now, when we speak of self intimacy, we're speaking of you having a deep understanding of yourself. And that deep understanding of yourself is not just, I understand myself and that's it. It is a state of accepting yourself. And then you're able to accept your thoughts, you're accepting your feelings, right? You're accepting all the things that there is about you, strengths and running away or trying to avoid a part of you. But quite a number of us do that because your inability to stay with yourself, your inability to consistently reflect on yourself, consistently check your strengths and your weaknesses to a large extent might be a lack of self-intimacy on your part. So knowing who you are at your own very core, there's a way that one of my coaches was saying, she was saying you getting the PhD on yourself, like literally studying yourself, knowing why you do the things that you do. And you're not just now knowing for the purpose of knowing, you are embracing it and using that knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? So even though you can see what looks like weaknesses, what looks like imperfections, the fact that you're able to see it, recognize it, you understand it, and you accept it. That is what self-intimacy is all about. So if somebody else is now doing this for you, having a deep understanding of you, accepting you for who you are, knowing your thoughts, your emotions, your strengths, and your weakness, that is that person being intimate with you. So someone who actually is embracing every part of you, including your imperfection, that is somebody being intimate with you. And this is, more often than not, when we talk about intimacy, we're already thinking, getting touchy and, going all the way sometimes to having sexual intercourse. But that's not what intimacy is. In fact, what it has been over time is that people have used that to avoid the true intimacy. Okay, so when we're speaking of self-intimacy, it helps you to build confidence in yourself because you know yourself. For example, if you get a new gadget and someone says, come and get into a competition with this new gadget you just got, you're going to pull back and be like, okay, I'm not used to it. I just got it last week. I just got it yesterday. I'm just unpacking it. I've not even seen it. I don't know how it works. So you won't be confident, to go ahead and, get into a competition with that. The same way, if you are that person that is not intimate with yourself, you might not have enough confidence in yourself. So if someone says, oh, come up on stage, come say something or something like that, am I sure? But do I have what it takes, to speak or to say something or not to embarrass myself or something like that. So when you are intimate with yourself, it helps to reduce your self-doubt because you know yourself. And if it's a weakness, if it's an imperfection, that you can easily say, oh no, that's not my thing. Oh no, I wouldn't do that. Oh no, that's a meal I don't like. Oh, that's an area I'm still trying to work on. Oh, I failed 3 times writing that examination. I'm not the best person to call as a teacher. That's That's confidence, despite the fact that you've not gotten the most fantastic results, but because you can be confident about it, confident to express yourself. And this truly enhances emotional well-being because it affects the way you self-talk. Because if someone says, "Oh, come up on stage," and you're like, "Ah, gosh, can you see now? If only you had known that thing, if only you had learned that thing." Well, because you are self-aware, self-intimate enough to know that what you're working on yourself, you're making changes. Oh, that's not my thing. Your opportunities to, in quote, embarrass yourself would be reduced. And that will certainly, enhance your emotional well-being. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not to say it's time for you to start hiding because of the weaknesses that you have seen or the imperfection. But you will see where we'll get with this conversation. So the three main components of self-intimacy, self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-care. I've spoken about self-acceptance, accepting yourself, but you have to know yourself to accept yourself. And to a large extent, many of us are not self-aware, or perhaps you're self-aware to a certain level, but you are not increasingly self-aware. So your ability to know your thoughts, know your feelings, know why you do the things you do, know what you want to achieve, your motivations, your aspirations in life, the ability to know what you desire, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and then now accepting it and caring for that person who owns all of that, weaknesses and strengths and skill and, intelligence and all of that. That is self-intimacy. And self-care is also, you now looking at the weaknesses that you have and turning them into opportunities for growth instead, and not say, "Oh, that's how we are, from my part of the town, or that's how we are from my family. I've accepted myself." But self-care involves you also ensuring that your weaknesses are not putting you at consistent disadvantage, or your weaknesses are not putting you at consistent making you a social outcast, for example. That is still part of self-care. But knowing it, accepting that that is the way it is, you're not negatively speaking to yourself or negatively talking yourself down. All of that is under self-care. So now let's speak about intimacy with others. You guys are not throwing me all of the love in the chat. What is happening? What have you learned? What is hitting you? What am I reminding you? Come on, put it in the chat, guys. Don't be quiet. We had this agreement before, right? Or should we just end it? I think I've almost used 15 minutes, so we can just say good night. Don't let's do this now. Waiting. Nothing. Okay, this is sounding like SDJ, don't bother. All right. I think that now that we're done with self-intimacy, we're just going to uh call it a night. Uh-uh. Thank you, Sherifumi. Thank you, Kofo. Uh-uh. Kofo said, please bother. No way, that one got me. Sure, we said intimacy with self helps you build self-confidence. Yes, thank you for putting that one out. Yes, and someone is love struck. Yeah, thank you. All right, so for me, no, I'm not going anywhere yet. But if I have to come back and beg for this love, ah. All right, intimacy with others. Now, remember, we had that definition about what intimacy with self is. And just like I said, when you have that feeling of being close to someone, a feeling of being emotionally connected to someone, a feeling of being supported by someone, you are being intimate with that person, right? And then you are able to share your true self, share your true thoughts. It's not just random thoughts that are coming to your mind, but you're able to be vulnerable, open up to the person. You're able to let them know, your imperfections, your weaknesses, the struggles that you're having, You can share a whole range of multiple thoughts, multiple feelings, multiple experiences with them without feeling unsafe. That is you being intimate with others. Blessing says self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-care. Yes, the three components of self-intimacy. Thank you for putting that out. So many times, many of us are seeking closeness with other people, seeking connection with other people, but not with ourselves. But it has to happen, side by side. So you being able to share your true self with another person, whether verbally or physically, in a one-on-one physical conversation, that is intimacy with other people, right? So intimacy with other people is, usually something we experience with familiar people, close people, people with that we have interacted with over a period of time. So trust is built in that kind of relationship. Is usually affectionate. So, you can easily get into an embrace with them. You're comfortable with them in your space. I mean, this kind of people that can just enter your room or something. You're not even trying to like clear the bed and quickly arrange stuff and all, because you're not hiding. Your true self is out there, right there with them. And it's with people that you love, that you have a sweet affectionate feeling towards, right? So there is the connection that you share with these people. Like I said earlier, it's based on trust, it's based on respect, as well as based on mutual understanding also. So it's not just you throwing it in their direction, you're also getting it from them. And that's why I said, you might even be with somebody and not be intimate with them. You might be having sex, you might be touching or necking or kissing someone and not necessarily be intimate with them. But that is what people would define as intimacy, because there is the close contact, but there might not be emotional connection. You might not be feeling supported. You might not be trusting them. That might not be coming out of respect, mutual respect. That might not be coming out of understanding as well. So there has to be that connection based on trust. There has to be respect between the parties involved. There has to be mutual understanding between the parties involved before we can call it intimacy with other people. So perhaps it might be, an abusive relationship, it might be a toxic relationship. For example, if a grown man is attempting to touch and hold and have inappropriate conversations, for example, with a 7-year-old, there is no mutual respect there. That child might be trusting, which is true, but that adult is not trusting. That adult is taking advantage of that child. There's no mutual understanding. You understand? There might be affection from the child because there's that pure innocence and all, but that relationship is not a loving, relationship, because it has a potential to hurt, the younger one. So all of that is how you begin to think through, the kind of relationships that you're having, wanting to know whether they are intimate, true intimacy, or it is just something that you're doing that you might not be able to define. And many of us are able to find this, you know, fantastic definition of intimacy with others in our close family. Some of us have long-standing friendships and people we met, probably we even went to primary school together, and it's been many years since then. We have built connection, trust, mutual understanding. They get us, we get them, we love them. You understand? It's our families have become close knit by virtue of the friendship that we shared. I mean, and this is not gender based as well. It's just you and people. Okay. Sherry for me says there should be mutual, exactly, respect, mutual understanding, and intimacy with others. Absolutely. The moment respect is missing, it's not intimacy. So the key components of intimacy with others, for the 3-1, for the intimacy with self, we had self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-care. And in this case, we do have communication, we have vulnerability and empathy. So, for example, in that example that I gave, which is not an appropriate one by any means, there might be communication, true. There might be vulnerability because the child will be vulnerable, but there is no empathy from the side of the adult. So this is part of how you begin to know and think about whether you are in a toxic relationship where someone is actually the toxic person and you're the victim, or whether you are the toxic person, because if you're not being empathetic, you're not being vulnerable, but you are actively communicating, that's not intimacy with other people, especially if they are throwing the vulnerability and empathy in your direction. So when we're speaking of communication, we're talking about open, honest communication, respectful engagement, respectful exchange of your words with people. So if you also have children, and rather than respectfully communicate, you're yelling at them, you are not, encouraging intimacy with them. You see what I mean? So you have people in your life, and some of us actually do yell at our parents or yell at our siblings. So you are open, you are honest, but the communication or conversation is not respectful. So you see how you can really easily just judge the true intimate relationships that you have in your life. So you can express your thoughts. You're not feeling judged. You're not feeling, I had a story that I would never forget many years ago. There was a girl, she was 15, and she committed suicide sometime somewhere in Europe. And she left a suicide note, and the note said that she felt grossly misunderstood by her parents. And that was what led her to suicide. I don't understand what kind of misunderstanding they could have, had, but miscommunication, perhaps the way they were exchanging their thoughts and their feelings towards her made her felt like, okay, this communication is not what I want. Maybe she had been open and honest, and they have not received it with empathy. You understand what I'm saying? So for vulnerability, you're willing to share, you're open, you know that there's a risk, as I say, oh, you've got a secret. You can say it, you can speak out your fears and not feel like, oh, this person is going to be backstabbing me and all. And empathy, of course, understanding their own feelings as well, not just your own feelings, not you being willing to just pour and unburden and tell them, and you're not caring. What are they going through as well? How is what you're saying even affecting them emotionally? All of that should be on your own mind. So it's not just going to be, oh, I'm here to communicate with you, I'm here to be vulnerable with you, without you saying, oh, how exactly is this person feeling? What communication am I getting from this person? How is this person reacting to this thing that I'm saying? That would be empathy. Okay. Kofo says, does that mean there can't be intimacy when trust has been breached, even when there has been forgiveness? Of course, there can be intimacy. Once trust has been breached, forgiveness is what begins to build trust again. So forgiveness says that you have, left them. You're not counting what they did against them. You're not holding the grudge. You're not holding the hurt, and you're willing to be vulnerable. You are empathetic with them. Perhaps you understand why they did what they did, maybe because they didn't have enough knowledge, maybe they were threatened, maybe they didn't understand the impact or the weight of their decision. You understand? So when you have forgiveness, truly, when you truly have forgiveness, vulnerability usually is restored, maybe not immediately, but gradually. Empathy is there. Otherwise, then you can't say you're really forgiven if you cannot share the genuine feeling of apology or the genuine sorry that the person is communicating to you openly and honestly. So that's also a check for you. If you cannot do any of these three and you say that you are forgiving the person, you might want to check whether or not you are really truly forgiven. Kofo, I hope that answered your question. All right. Thank you, Kofo. That's Kofo getting intimate with me in the chat, guys. Let's do something. All righty. So now we certainly have to build intimacy with others. Like I said earlier, we can't live on our own. We can't live as an island. And one major way by which we build intimacy is to have deep conversations. And I put this there because there are many other ways by which we would think intimacy is built, like look into my eyes, like touch me, like when we're speaking of love languages, right? So put your hands on my shoulder, hugs. Oh, she doesn't hug me, so that means she doesn't love me. No, 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 no. deep conversations are actually the true judge of intimacy, where you can open your heart. Remember, we spoke about communication, we spoke about vulnerability and empathy. So you don't even have to have ever seen them. That's people have pen pals in the past. Now we don't need pen pals because you can just throw emails. Sorry about that. I got disconnected. I'm hoping that I'm going to have this very seamless meeting tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. But I was talking about the fact that the major check of um, intimacy with others is how much of deep conversations that you are able to have with this person. Ladi, you are now host of the meeting. Can you please make me host again? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Kofo. I didn't even realize that was called. Yeah, I think it's because I lost the host. I lost being the host of the meeting. Mm. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladi. So let me begin to record again. All right. About building intimacy with others. And I said that one major way by which we can check is the fact that we are able to have deep, deep conversations with this person or with this set of people. So if your conversations are also very shallow, and this could be a judge, for example, of that relationship you're trying to have with that significant other, if you guys are not really talking about things that are really making sense and all. And yes, there's this thing now called talking stage. What exactly do you people talk about? I mean, someone called it sweet nonsense. No, I don't want to be having sweet nonsense conversations with you perpetually. Yes, some sweet nonsense is sweet. So how? All right. But then I don't want to have perpetual sweet nonsense conversations. But there has to be deep conversations. And these deep conversations, have to be guided, meaningful topics, meaningful, not did you say that look at this Instagram, not all of your real. There's a particular time I used to joke, the person is your last missed call, last made call, last received call. Then now when you want to check your Instagram, they are the first person to sit for share. Yeah, they are the first to check to like your post and all of that. And you really are not having meaningful conversations. That's not intimacy. And I'm not only speaking specifically in the direction of you wanting to be someone as your boyfriend, girlfriend, or eventually your spouse. I'm saying even friendship. There has to be meaningful conversations meaningful topics. And when we say meaningful, the topic has to be meaningful for you and meaningful for them. So that's where the mutual understanding comes from. And even if it's not totally meaningful for them, the fact that they can be vulnerable enough to listen to a conversation that is meaningful for you and have, open, honest conversation to say, this is not my thing, this is not my topic, but because you are interested in it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, that is intimacy. And I don't really believe that there can be true friendship without intimacy as well. So you see how all of these things are working together. So you can have this structured conversation. So maybe you already have somebody in your life and there's been a whole lot of chatting that has not been making sense. That's fine. Pick topics, values, dreams. What are your fears? What are your thoughts about this country? What do you think about financial intelligence? I mean, pick a topic that and if they don't know it, tell them go and read it. When we meet next week over lunch, let's talk about this. Not, did you see that boy, that guy, that muscle, that girl, that bomb? No, now those topics are just what you can have, with random people, not people that you're truly intimate with. And if also you're doing a self-check right now and you see that the people that are closest to you, the kind of conversations you have with them is in this direction, you also want to now begin to work on yourself. I mean, why am I always talking about nonsense? Why am I interested in topics that are not, moving me forward, are not advancing my life or the life of any other people? You probably want to check, maybe it's a lack of meaningful conversations that has caused you to lose some of the friendships that you have had, because, well, they wanted to talk about other things like dream, like goal setting, like career advancement, like, running a home properly, like raising a child and all. And then you just want to talk about, the latest shoes, the designers, the rave, the clubs that are now there. Or perhaps you just wanted to talk about the sorrows and pains of life and the disappointments of people and all of that. And those topics are not always on the zero, but they might not be meaningful, for the person. So there has to be that shared understanding as much as possible. Okay. All right. Let me see. Blessing says, okay, let me do this one first, Blessing, and then I go to what you've written. Self-intimacy certainly impacts your intimacy with others. Right. And the three areas that you would know that is happening is if there's consistent emotional barrier that you're feeling, there's consistent communication problem, and there are trust issues. Whether people don't trust you or you don't trust them, whichever one, it's showing that the self-intimacy is not lacking something, self-intimacy is lacking, or intimacy with others is lacking. So when we speak of emotional barriers, we're saying you don't even have that ability to identify or understand yourself in the first place. So every other person is the one helping you to understand your emotions. And if you can't understand yourself, then you might be too self-absorbed to understand other people's emotions. Or you are so understanding, in quotes, with other people's emotions that you leave your own unattended to. So self-care is missing in that place. And it causes a lot of misunderstanding between you and the people that you are interacting with. It will certainly cause emotional distancing, because if you are constantly fighting and bickering and stirring up negative emotions when you're with people, something is lacking, either self-intimacy or intimacy with others. But if you have self-respect and you're not ready to be a time waster, you want to talk about meaningful things, you are thinking about advancing your life, the life of other people, to a large extent, I don't think you will have so much time to engage in fights, engage in arguments that are not even really making sense. You understand what I'm saying? You won't go over and over and over and over and over and over about it. And of course, trust issues, like I said, both ways. Are you the one insecure, or people are insecure around you? There are things to check and things to look at. But if you're that person who is afraid to be vulnerable with people, that will help you, hold to yourself, but that might not be self-intimacy. And remember, when we're talking about the three components of intimacy, there's vulnerability is there. I was even saying then, when Kofu was asking about forgiveness, if you can't be vulnerable at all with somebody again, to a large extent, forgiveness might not have been completed, or that relationship is broken beyond remedy. So you might want to maybe give it space, give it time, interact with them on other levels or other bases, but not at that level of vulnerability, for example, that you believe that they have reached the trust in. So if you as a person doesn't have self-assurance, you will be afraid that people will hurt you, or you will be afraid that you will be the one hurting other people. So you're always trying to be the collateral damage, you're always trying to talk yourself down, you always try expect the worst of people, of situations. That will certainly create barriers to deep connection, because I also, for example, don't want to be with a friend who feels like, oh, I am so good, they are so bad, so everything I do is correct, everything I say is right. They in turn are just on the receiving end of the friendship. No, that's just trust issues in some ways. And of course, communication problem. You have to know how to communicate your true thoughts, your true emotions, your true point of view, your honest opinion. So if you are that person that is always second thought, fourth guessing what you're saying, moments to speak come, but you don't share what you think, it's either people will begin to think that you're hiding things, or they'll begin to look at you as somebody who has nothing to offer, for example, or they look at you as a yes man or something. Look, I want your honest opinion. Be my friend and tell me when I'm not doing something right. And if you are now not able to communicate that effectively, I might begin to feel like, okay, this person what I expect or what I think, or just has something to hide. And this could lead to you withholding your true feelings. So somebody hurts you, you go home sad, but you're not told them, I didn't like how you spoke to me. I felt embarrassed by the things you did. Those kind of things build wedges in between people. And at the end of the day, it reduces or eliminates intimacy with others. So Blessing said it was from SDG I first heard intimacy being used in this context. Oh, wow. Okay. Though at first I was like, is she using the right one? Because before then, when I hear the word intimate or sometimes there's some words, some fantastic words that we have avoided because people have used them in the wrong context, right? Sherry is laughing about that. Yes. It says on rebuilding intimacy, I believe intimacy is both ways, inclusive of both or all parties involved. Absolutely. However, if one party refuses not to be intimate, should one still pursue intimacy or let it slide, even when there has been forgiveness from one party? Well, if you are the one who committed the offense, for example, you might want to give it a bit of time, allow the person to heal from that hurt, from that pain. Allow them to trust you again, show yourself trustworthy, not, be their slave or now become a victim of a toxic relationship because you're trying to apologize. But then you have to give them time. Sometimes you might even require that you're apologizing again and again, not because in fact, you'll find out that if that is happening, they will tell you, I'm serious, I told you, you don't have to apologize. No, I don't like you mentioning this issue again. Yeah, but I can see that you're still hurt. I can see that, it's affected our relationship, and I truly want you to know that, whatever thing I can do to make it right, I'm willing to do. But let it not be that whatever you are doing is the wrong. So you see how you have to continue to balance it. You can't afford to now end up in developing toxicity out of that relationship in your attempt to seek forgiveness. If relationships are broken and intimacy is lost, yes, it can be rebuilt over time, it can be rebuilt with other people. It might not be the very same relationship again, but we should ensure that at least you are taking your learnings and then you're able to apply it well, in other situations. Okay, Simeon, I hope that helped. Blessing said it's not just how you eat. Have you sleep? Have you meaningful conversation? Like, how are you? Fine. Everything all right? Good. Okay. As the J move on, Namita says I totally agree. Thank you, Tamito. Conversation, some people flee deep. Yes. And it's hard because they're not having the deep conversations with themselves. If you are having deep conversations with yourself, it becomes easier. For example, look at this one now, communication problems. Whenever you are already in your own thoughts, in your own space, you are already avoiding, talking about, Shay, you didn't do that right. Now, this is reverse is the case for those who are overthinkers, right? They are always probably self-talking negatively, seeing all the wrong, all their weaknesses, the one that they didn't do well, that they will perpetually always say, no, 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 no. You also have to find a balance. Remember, self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-care. And self-care, don't be toxic with yourself either. Because if you're not deeply loving and being deeply intimate with yourself, you don't know how to do with other people. If other people get the better of you than yourself, there's something not right in that mix as well. It's because an emotional barrier. I see how you take care of me, you make me meals and all, but you can starve for 3 days. Or if you are hungry, no, now I don't even want to eat that food next time I come visiting. Do you get? All right. Sherry says, I think my problem with building intimacy with others through deep conversations, especially my friends, making out time that is convenient for both parties. We have to see how we make it work. You understand? And that's why it also now has to be that doesn't necessarily have to be physical. And if you know that creating that physical, and see, it doesn't have to be every day. It can be once in 1 month. I'm not even kidding, and you will get so deep with them that you're looking forward to the next month's conversation. And by the way, SDJ is on us. It takes 24 hours to fall in love. Yes, 24 hours can be spread over a period of 1 year. All right, that's everyone nowadays is so focused on shallow things. Oh, yes, but certainly not everyone on this call these days. So perhaps you want to pick up a new friend on this call tonight. I mean, that's it, right? And if we don't address it, if we're not careful, we'll also begin to follow this bandwagon, this, wrong people traits of just blabbing on about shallow things. All right. Oh, okay. Oh, Nwaburuok. Oh, hi there. Says, how can we address toxic relationship with family members? If we just go there like this, we won't finish this webinar. But I'm going to talk about that. I will ensure that I answer it in the course of tonight's conversation. Oh, thank you, Simon. Thank you, Morenike. Blessings is ISD. This gradual learning towards self-intimacy, especially self-care part, is what is helping this overthink. We will get there. Absolutely. We will get there. And I remember in one of my coaching sessions, I asked a question. I was like, it was one of my 100 days of growth group. And the question that I asked was, if I was going to come visit you, like I tell you that I'm coming to your house tomorrow and all of that, maybe I even say I'm going to sleep over, whatever. I can't remember the details of what I said. What are you going to do? Or I tell you, oh, I'm going to come visit you after Sunday. Like I'm coming from church, I'm just coming to your house. And like, what would you do? And quite a lot of people started saying what they would do. I will do this, I will cook that, I will make this ready, I will ask if you want this, I will do, those kind of stuff. And I now ask that on the days where you feel like you've worked hard, you've had a really, really great week or something of you applying yourself or maybe of study or something, and that would you go through that same length of work of would you can you do the same. Whatever it is that you're going to buy for me because I'm coming to visit you, can you buy the same for yourself on the days when you feel like, this week I've really tried a lot? So if the answer is by any means no, if you will reduce the standard by any means, then perhaps you might not have enough, self-care going on there. So I'm not saying every day you will do that for yourself. I'm saying, okay, when you finally feel like, Shay, you've done well, Shay, you've worked hard, Shay, what can you pamper yourself that way? If you would say, Isaac, I'm not even going to cook for you because I feel like I'm not a good cook. I'm going to take you to the best restaurant. I'm going to treat you to a 3 course or a 6 course meal. Can you treat yourself to a 3 course or a 6 course meal on the day where you feel like, gosh, you've worked hard this month? Let's go pamper you. If the answer is no, perhaps you still need a bit of self-care there. So it means that your intimacy effort or your intimacy drive is still more external than internal. And we need to find the balance. Even the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So there is the balance between self-love and people love. It has to go, front and back, yin yang. Okay. All right. Morenike says, how do we get a balance between intimacy and oversharing? Well, deep conversations with selected people, not every people. And I think that you can tread shallow waters of conversation and go deeper into conversations on the same topic much later. The level of how you know somebody will determine how much you can tell them. So take it with your own ability to express yourself. Many questions coming. Are we going to finish? But I'm loving it. What can one do when you get an instruction from God to be intimate with someone to help the person with their spiritual career life, but then the person is not ready for such relationship? Ah, let me be honest with you, Obed. When you get that kind of instruction, many times you think that the instruction is so that the person can be helped. Many times it is who God is helping. Okay, next. The truth is, one won't even be able to do that for someone else if you don't do it for yourself. Exactly. How do you even know? You need to practice with yourself before you can go to others. Oh, but I know you will feel like I skipped your question, but more often than not, that is what it is. You learn patience, you learn love, you learn communication, appropriate communication. You learn to rise above emotional barriers. You learn to be vulnerable because this is not you. You didn't go to them to say, I like you, you are fantastic. You went there by instruction. Many times you are the work that God is doing, not the person. Many, many times you will find out that that relationship will so much change you. Even though, yes, of course, they would also receive changes. All right, let's see what we have in our slides more before we go. So signs of hindrance, of course, when you are withdrawing perpetually, avoiding closeness, avoiding deep conversations, it's a sign that you are not, taking a lot of attention with self-intimacy. Shying away from forming close bonds. That's things about you you're still trying to hide. And if you're intimate with yourself, you'll be true to yourself. You'll be working on yourself, working on your weaknesses and all. And of course, you won't have fear to expose your true self because you will be proud of your true self, even with the imperfection of your true self. You see what I mean? And then, of course, another sign of hindrance is that you will be experiencing a lot of conflicts in your relationships here and there. I know mentors, I don't know what's wrong with everybody. No, how can something be wrong with everybody in the world? At the office, something is wrong. In the house, something is wrong. In the church, something is wrong. On the street, something is wrong. No, you should check yourself. So frequent misunderstanding, frequent disagreements, your colleagues at work, your customers. No, then that means you are not paying attention to self-intimacy and is beginning to hinder your intimacy with other people, and it's usually unresolved, right? Because yes, you can have oh, something happened today, not just something, a day can just happen like that, where you stepped on somebody's toes, then you lost another person's key, and then someone else's mug fell from your hand and it broke. Okay, all of that in one day, that's fine, but that ends and it is done. But continual unresolved conflict, it really shows to a large extent that you need a lot of self intimacy, right? Right there. And of course, your lack of self intimacy is now affecting how you're relating or how you are being intimate with other people. Okay. And of course, another sign of hindrance is insecurity. When you're perpetually feeling insecure, perpetually seeking validation, perpetually seeking reassurance. And yes, there are some of us like that, words of affirmation, for example, is one of our love languages. But Where the problem is where you are dependent on it. You can't function except it comes. So there you are, staying and sitting and waiting, to be told. If SDJ is not told that she's great, she's fantastic, she's good, she will never believe it. And for that reason, SDJ will not do the webinar. SDJ is just waiting to hear that, SDJ, you are good. Oh, I'm good. Oh, yeah, let's do webinar. No, that cannot be. Once your dependence on that validation, on the reassurance, is beginning to incapacitate how you're working, how you're delivering. Once, because someone did not say, oh, how are you, your dress is fine, you feel like, it means my dress must be bad, or I must be badly dressed today. Okay, that's a whole lot of insecurity going on there. And if it is one person, or it shouldn't be more than one, to be honest, that you really, really desire that, oh, they see you dress up because of them, and please, that person had better be your spouse, amen, or maybe your mother. Outside that, let's not even add to that list. You get. And then, so you can say, mommy, can't you see that I just made my hair? Okay, yeah, that's permitted. That's okay. Oh, now, sweetheart, didn't you notice that I'm wearing a new dress? Oh, yeah, that's okay. Well, because your sweetheart did not say, oh, that dress is fine, then you go all day feeling insecure, feeling like, oh, maybe the dress is not good. Maybe I wasted my money. Maybe I shouldn't have bought this dress. That is a whole lot of insecurity going on there. And you need more self-intimacy. You bought the dress, you wore it, you saw yourself in the mirror. Yes, so you should be able to tell yourself how you're looking before anybody comes and gives you any form of reassurance about it. And of course, insecurity also speaks of insufficient sense of self, right? Sense of is repeated there. Insufficient sense of self. If you have a strong sense of self, what somebody is going to say to you will not be the 100% determinant of your decision making, of your day, of how you're going to feel, and all of that. And what insecurity causes is imbalanced relationship most of the time. Toxic relationships is because insecurity exists in someone or both parties. And insecurity is not always that you are the victim. Insecurity can even make you the perpetrator. Insecurity can make you the toxic one because you are insecure. So you are probably demanding, excessive in your actions, and all of those kind of things. There are things that you need to watch that you're not exhibiting. And of course, all of us, not even say many, all of us want that validation, that reaction, like, oh, well done. Oh, I mean, today I got in and Lade was like, oh, you look beautiful. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, that's fine. And then Obed noticed that, oh, you look tired. And then, that insecurity will probably now make you say, I look tired, Abi. Maybe I shouldn't have come, and then you begin to overthink it. And then I look beautiful. Now looks like, yes, that must be the person who truly. Guys, sorry, guys. This, I think we need to round up. This internet thing is just cutting the flow. Favor, you are host now. Kindly make me host so that I can continue to record. But the YouTube streaming is not broken, so that is fantastic. Um, thank you, Favor. So let me go back to sharing my screen. We were talking about signs of hindrance, showing that there is hindrance to your intimacy with others. And certainly that is coming from hindrance to self-intimacy as well. A lot of it is coming from hindrance to self-intimacy, or hindrance from self-intimacy. Okay, so strategies for improvement: develop self-intimacy. Develop self. You're going to improve your intimacy with others, develop self-intimacy. Three key components, you remember it: self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-care. Focus on self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-care. When you focus on those three, you certainly will be developing a lot of intimacy with yourself. And once you are on that level, you will be the better things about you, more value that you're adding to the world. And that can only happen if you're committing to personal development, personal growth, and all of that. And I'm excited for you that you're here. And that's why I said you might want to share the YouTube link, for example, with a friend or someone. Say, guy, you need to see these things. Probably you might be trying to communicate with them over time. Of course, seek feedback from the people that love you. And I hope that you won't overthink this and then begin to hate on them, because trusted family, people who are trusted family and friends, they'll tell you the truth. Don't start feeling like, oh, there you go, because I came to ask you, Abby, that's why you're saying that kind of nonsense to me. No, no, to be honest, more often than not, they would be there to tell us the truth about the situation, the truth about our lives. Though they are, they see us every time. They know us even in ways perhaps that we don't know ourselves. And because of that, they are able to, give that, required feedback that we need to improve ourselves. So I said it here that it can provide valuable perspective on how our lack of self-intimacy might be affecting relationship with others. And someone asked about family members. So family members might be able to give you true feedback, but sometimes family members even are the people you don't want to talk to, because maybe they have been totally bickering at you, communication has been bad, vulnerability has been almost zero, empathy has not been there. And remember, those are the three key components for intimacy with other people. So when that is the case, you want to look at, okay, who can give me that good feedback, with a friend, someone you can be vulnerable with, a coach, a mentor, something like that. Please, let's not, throw ourselves out looking for love, no, in the wrong places, looking for attention in the wrong places. It can be tempting, when the wrong person is giving all the attention. I think in one of my coaching sessions, I was sharing how and there was an experience I was having and all of that. I think I had this argument with my husband, and then I just picked up my WhatsApp and somebody just bossed me. And the way the composed message just to say, oh, hi, I'm just checking up on you. You're such a great person. I'm like, danger, danger. That's not the kind of feedback I want right now. Because no, you are sounding like the trusted friend and family member that I need. But no, you are not the trusted friend and family member that I need the feedback from at this particular moment. You understand what I'm saying? So let's be careful. People that have known us over time, people that have interacted with us, in multiple diverse ways. And as much as possible, seek professional help. We don't like to do so much of that in this side of the world. Unfortunately, we would just prefer to um, just keep it to ourselves, or perhaps maybe we can call professional help here, seeking counsel from your pastor, speaking up at the counseling department in your church, and all of that. You might just, find out that it's helping you to uncover deeper issues. For example, Obed was speaking earlier and was telling us about how, God can actually tell you to get intimate with someone. That might be God offering someone professional help, spiritual help. But then, as far as I'm concerned, I'm calling it professional help, because someone who is intentionally going after the quest to see you improve and break free from underlying deeper issues is often offering a higher level of random help, as far as I am concerned. Okay, so I put up a bonus session, but our time is up, guys. Let me just go to the chat and see what is written. Being open about feelings helps a lot. Yes, yes, Tamto. And many times when we can say it out, we just find out we get better. You understand? Yes, Ayoba says you can't give what you don't have. Absolutely. If you are not able to care for yourself, then how do you know how to care for other people? If you're not able to pay attention to your emotions, how do you begin to pay attention to other people? Let me tell you that I think effective communication is key. Absolutely. Because some people draw back due to feelings of unrequited yes, or the feelings of putting more into a relationship than the other person. Absolutely. And to a certain extent, this could even get toxic, because you might be crossing boundaries with that person. I mean, get toxic that you are not the victim, they are the victims. right? Because you're putting a whole lot. You're having, I mean, Morenike asked us, how do we get a balance between deep conversations and oversharing? So some people say some things, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's a whole lot of information right there. It means you are already beginning to cross boundaries with them. So there has to be, okay, are you ready for this? I mean, and let's take it over time. It's not an extended 6 hours period of, let me tell you this whole story of my life. Rather, it should be more like, warming up into it. Shori was talking about how, she doesn't seem to find time. So it could be a chat here, a 15 minutes talk there, a scheduled 5 minutes conversation there, one weekend out with the girls every quarter, something. Pace yourself in it. But effective communication is key. And it also speaks to the fact that you're able to ask them, is it okay? I mean, do you want to have conversations about values, dreams? I mean, those things are still random enough of some sort. Not what, if you ask me what are my values, these are not secrets, right? What are you trying to achieve with your life? That's not supposed to be a secret either. But when it's not specific details about what's happening in my house, what's happening in my body, what my father said that my mother didn't do, all of those kind of stuff, it's also could be crossing boundaries as much as possible. That could even make the other person want to draw back. Okay. So yeah, blessing is laughing at danger. Yeah, sometimes we ourselves are able to see our red flags, and self-care is working on your red flag. Now, I was talking about how you should ensure that your weaknesses, your imperfections are not actually, being a major disadvantage to you, and making you an outcast in the required social circles that you're supposed to be in, and you're just showing up. People are like, there she comes again. This girl that doesn't understand boundaries, this girl that is always just so touchy or so loud with her laughter or something like that. Um, of course, they are not being intimate with you because they should easily just say, babes, I think you should laugh, a bit more girly. And they are not trying to say it with that, saucy look or with a look of disgust. You would really say that they really care and they are looking to have you, adjust and be a better version of yourself. Okay. All right. So Chiolu one says fear of being judged can sometimes affect. Yes. And remember, fear of being judged usually will come from insecurities. Excuse me. Fear of being judged will come from insecurities most of the time. Um, so fix your insecurities. And let me tell you, the best way to fix your insecurities, if you see the fact that you're getting absolutely insecure, for example, in a group of people, um, start by recognizing why. Why? Every time I stand with Tulu Anime, why do I feel the way I feel? So you're looking at, oh, she's bold, oh, she's beautiful, oh, she's rich, oh, she's confident, oh, she has friends, oh, she's educated, oh, whatever, oh, she's been on great platforms, and also you are recognized while in quotes you feel inferior, to that person of some sort. Now, that is not to say set those things that you see in her as the goals of what you want to do. No, that's to say, you now want to sit with yourself, find out what your area of strength is, and then go be bold in that area. So it now doesn't matter if she comes in with a stiletto and best dressed clothes or whatever. If you have found that that's what your own area of strength is, being a farmer, and you're getting on your farm wearing your farm boots, you can't fix nails obviously because you're tilling the ground and all of that, and then you're always in, your sun heart or what do you call that thing, and no, you won't feel insecure in her presence because she is wearing stilettos and she's all dressed, all nails fixed. Yeah, that's what she needs for the boardroom that she's in. Well, I'm a farmer. You understand? Insecurities are fixed when we go and recognize our strengths, find our purpose, and we are actively working in that direction. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. So Demeter says also dishonesty of heart. I don't know how we'll fix that thing. But then Bible already tells us, right? There's only God and the Holy Spirit, the person, excuse me, and the Holy Spirit in the person that knows the thought of the person. So we can only trust God and trust the Holy Spirit that yes, this person I'm opening up to, they are the right person. And that's where, of course, betrayals will come. And that's exactly actually why I put in these bonus sessions. No, John, it's not betrayals, but this bonus session is trust issues. Yes, many of us have developed trust issues over time based on past experiences, based on disappointments. I mean, repeated stuff. We've read stories, we've watched movies, we've seen it happen. People have done it to us, people have done it to our friends, people have done it to our family. Perhaps people have even, you have even done it to somebody. Yeah, maybe he just felt like that person was not good enough, for whatever reason. So yes, because I don't want to sound like it's the other people that are bad. Even we say we have our own issues. Sorry. Yeah. But then trust issues is now you having that difficulty in trusting again. And sometimes it's now not just the person that hurt you. Remember the forgiveness question that Kofu asked. It's now you extending it to everyone that, I'm sure that's where this men has come thing it came out from. Like ain't nobody's reliable. No better don't good men are finished. Women are no those kind of things come from trust issues where you have difficulty in believing because of the past experiences that you've had. So you become totally skeptical in forming secured relationship, in being intimate with other people, many times even family members. So you're not trusting, you leave your food on the dining table, you go out and then you're coming out, you're like, can I still eat this food? My brother is in the house, so is it possible my mother wants to poison? Like, you know, uh, it's a whole lot of pressure to live like that. You understand what I'm saying? But unfortunately, bad experiences, um, we've been dealt heavy blows at some point in life that might have brought us to this place. And this is not even me trying to say it was your fault that you have trust issues. I'm saying it does exist and we need to fight it. You can't live isolated because trust issues sometimes even stem from yourself. Where you're even like, even me, I say, I've not finished trusting myself. How will I trust them? That's not, it sounds noble, but it's not a good conversation. It's not a good place to be. And from I've been in this place, very much at a particular time in my life, and God blessed me with a friend that helped me through that season. Because in fact, I was vulnerable enough to say to this friend that, oh, I'm not even sure about building a friendship because I didn't believe as at that time that I had the capacity to hold a friendship. There's something always goes wrong with my friendship. And the reassuring statement that this friend gave to me was that, oh, don't worry, I will get it right for us. Like, I will get this friendship right for us. So, whenever it is that something is going wrong, or you're going wrong, I'm going wrong, I will fix it until you're able to get yourself back. You're able to begin to trust yourself again. You're able to get your self esteem back and all. And interestingly, we are still friends till today. It's been quite a ride, to have been blessed with such a friendship. Okay. So, trust issues, past experiences could have caused it. Insecurities also caused it, low self-esteem, fear of being hurt. Some of us have never even had experience before. Probably just read it in one novel. And for that, from that moment, insecurity developed and all of that. And then, of course, communication problem as well. Maybe you grew up in an environment where they say, oh, don't talk like that, you don't do that, don't know all the don'ts and don'ts, or the what was allowed or not allowed, for example, where you were. It might not even be childhood. Some of us develop it in adulthood. And before you know it, you are in that place where you're not able to be transparent, to be open. All these Instagram posts that says if you are doing something, don't tell anybody, don't. And maybe it not happened to you, you told somebody it didn't work out, and you begin to suspect, could it have been my cousin that I told? I mean, so many things like that could also cause it. And as much as possible, we need to be guarding our hearts, you know, guarding our hearts so much. So, how do we overcome trust issues? Self reflect, consistent self reflection. What is happening to me? What am I thinking about? And self reflection helps self awareness. Remember, self reflection will also help your self care. In fact, self reflection itself is self care. Okay. Self-reflection will help you to accept yourself better. You're able to process who you are, see the things that need to change, and then begin to actively work on it. Okay. And of course, when you've identified exactly what is happening, you can begin to look at, for direction on how you can get healing in that area. Of course, be open in your communication, right? As much as possible, be honest. Don't try to hide. Oh, fine, you can't say too much. Say the little you can say, but make sure it's the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay. And gradually, trusted people will begin to come into your life again and all of those kind of things. And of course, uh, trust. You can't say you have trust issues and you're not trying to trust. So you have to increasingly try to trust people, because try to build confidence in people. And the more you increase your ability to trust people, the more confidence you have, in the people that are around you, you're trying to trust, and gradually the fear of betrayal will be reduced over time. Okay. So this is my concluding slide. Don't put intimacy with others first. Let's start with you. Let's just start with you. I know it's easier to find that person who just sees you, sees your curves, who sees your lovely chest, you smell good and all of those kind of things. And then we just want to go for them because they love us in ways that we are not even able to love ourselves. And we feel like, oh, this person reminds me of the goodness that is in me when I can't even remember the goodness in me. And we can quickly get tempted to run into the arms of someone else to find intimacy. But we need to synergize first with ourselves. In fact, if someone is loving you, you might want to find out why they are loving you as well. Don't let it be trust issues. Don't let it be trust issues. But no, okay, I like the way you talk. I like, it could be physical attraction, and physical attraction is good, but at least oh, it's your face, it's your nose, it's your nice curves, oh, it's your heart, it's the way you think, it's the way you talk, it's the perspective you bring, it's the way you care about me, something. If you're going to be intimate with someone, it would have to have been part of the key components. They have seen you vulnerable, or they have been vulnerable with you, and they saw how you handled it. There can't be intimacy if there has not been, that vulnerability, if there has not been communication, if there has not been empathy, right? So they can say, oh, I feel your pain, I feel your thought, I like your point of view, I can resonate with what. For someone to say, I just don't know why I like it, I just like it. That's also some bit of a red flag right there. You might want to say, I'm not saying you don't really like me. I'm saying I need you to pause, reflect, and put, define why, the things you like about me, even if that might not be the why of it all. Okay. So let's put self intimacy before intimacy with others. All righty. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the intimacy that we've enjoyed in the chat tonight. I'm really, really excited about how tonight went. Sherry for me says this session has really been helpful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Especially for someone that is slowly moving from zero intimacy to finding herself, having to be intentional about relationships, definitely going to use all these nuggets in my journey. Oh, Sherry, that is so beautiful. And I must say that for you to have engaged this much, articulated what is on your mind this much, you are really, really, really ready for self-intimacy. In fact, I would say, judging from the things I read to you tonight, that you've already gotten to that point of self-intimacy. You are absolutely growing in that area. And yes, you might just be ready for some fantastic friendships. All right. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for this session. Tommy says, thank you, Tommy J. Yes, thank you, Kofu. Oh, that hug again. My gosh, Kofu is getting me. Thank you. Simeon said this has been a wonderful session. Yes, thank you, guys. Thank you, Simeon. Thank you, Tom. For me, anybody else has any question before we go tonight? We overshot our time a bit, but I wouldn't even have it another way. We had such a great time tonight. I loved it. I really, really loved it. Damator says, thank you so much. Oh, through your cases. Love your totally unique point of view. Oh, thank you, Damator. Thank you very much. Favor says, thank you, Marie. This was so enlightening. Thank you. And I hope I was able to throw a bit of light about the family. Family is that I don't know how to explain it, but we don't choose family. You can choose who you want to be intimate with, but you can't choose family. And there's that expectation that we're supposed to be intimate when it comes to family, right? So to a large extent, we are at that point where family hurts us a lot because we automatically throw intimacy in that direction. We expect intimacy from that direction, even when we've not necessarily worked on it. And unfortunately, many people have our family members and they themselves don't even know how to be intimate with themselves. So at the end of the day, we are getting hurt a lot from family, and the more hurt, the more miscommunication, the less vulnerability, the less empathy, the more misunderstandings, the more bickerings, the more we don't want to be part of it. And rather than for us to say, you know what, can we just sit down and let's even try to address what exactly is happening? We're family. There's nothing we can do about what's being family, right? But we can now decide whether or not we want to be intimate or not, and then solve whatever it is that is there, get to understand, get to speak up and all. So we just decided to stay away, away, away. And this is driving deeper and deeper wedges, between families. That's why you find out that many men don't even get to have a clue or know their fathers until they themselves are in their 40s or 50s, and their fathers are in their 70s or 80s. And that's like also such a whole lifetime of love and togetherness and intimacy that has been wasted. And then this should just be pointers to allow us think, how am I building my own family now if I've not had it good from the family in which I was born into? All right. Obed says, thank you so much, SDJ. Thank you to Obed. Thank you, Lua Sheyi. I was asking that, is that Sheyi you're laughing, but I wasn't sure I got an answer. The way you answered my question, though, I was not expecting the reply. That means I need to stay with it. Of course, you have to stay with it and learn what God wants exactly. The fact that you are even trying not to stay with it also shows that you have lessons of staying power to learn. You have empathy to give. You are seeing the weakness in the life of the person, you're seeing the need that they have not been recognized. So you have to throw empathy in that direction, be vulnerable with sharing your own experience, watch your communication, make sure it's not inappropriate, be there to listen when they have to, they want to talk to you. All right, Luashe, thank you for answering. Lavita says, why did this meeting seem shorter than it actually was? All right, guys, that is what telling me time up, time up, time up. Thank you. Thank you for a beautiful time. I hope to see you again next month. We have a webinar, like I said, last Sunday of every month throughout this year. I'm really committing to that one. Yes, Davito, thank you for that cue. Good night, everyone. I love you. And it's been a wonderful, intimate session tonight. I hope to hear of the stories of more beautiful intimacy that you'll begin to build with other people in your life. Okay. All right. God bless you. Take care. And bye for now.